Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 29th of June, 2022. I'm Michael Thompson. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 things that happened today that you need to know about, so let's jump into it. Story number 1 is the markets. Overall, it was a pretty ordinary day on the local bourse. The S&P ASX 200 closed down 0.9% to 6,700 points, breaking its 4-day run of gains. The top performer was Liontown Resources, which climbed 5.2% after the lithium group announced a major deal with automotive giant Ford. It's a 5-year deal starting in 2024, which will see Liontown providing lithium for electric vehicle batteries. Liontown already has similar deals with Tesla and South Korean battery company LG Energy Solutions. Star Entertainment also had a pretty good day, up 3.3%. This was on the news that the group is getting a new CEO, Robbie Cook. On the flip side of that announcement, the company that Mr. Cook is leaving, Tyro Payments, was the worst performer on the ASX 200 today, plunging 16.7%. The tech sector was down 2.8% after a poor lead-in from Wall Street. Block, the owner of Afterpay, fell 6.2%, reflecting a generally rotten day for the buy now, pay later sector. Story number 2, neobank Volt will shut down, handing its license back to the banking regulator and returning about $100 million in deposits to customers. This morning, Volt used its website to urge customers to withdraw their funds before July 5th, which is when they'll start to close accounts. Interest rates on all accounts have been set to 0. Volt just hasn't been able to secure the funding that it needs to keep operating. It blames the pandemic and the challenging global economic climate. The neobanks emerged back in 2019 when the banking regulator issued licenses to 4 startup banks that were targeting essentially the retail banking sector, but it has been a pretty tough space to operate in. Volt has gone, one rival shut down in January last year and another one was sold to NAB. Story number 3, while Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is over in Madrid at the NATO meeting, domestic politics just keeps ticking over. Energy Minister Chris Bowen has ruled out banning future gas and coal projects. In a speech to the National Press Club, Mr. Bowen said that while he'll listen to any good ideas from the crossbench, he won't go against the government's mandate. He also said that Labor's 43% emissions target is not going to be treated as a ceiling. Story number 4, major news out of the US today. Explosive allegations from a former White House staffer at the Congressional Committee investigating last year's attack on the US Capitol. Cassidy Hutchinson was an aide to President Trump's chief of staff, and she testified to the panel that the president had wanted to join his supporters storming the Capitol building on January 6 after giving a speech urging them to fight the election result. It got a bit worse. Apparently, when Mr. Trump was told that he'd be taken back to the White House instead, he said, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." And when a Secret Service agent refused, Trump allegedly tried to grab the steering wheel of the presidential limo, then lunged at his security detail. There is a lot more to come in this story. And finally, story number 5, a mystery clock from rural New South Wales has sold at auction for $1.2 million. Now, it's called a mystery clock because the hands appear suspended in space. There's really no visible kind of mechanism, so it looks like the hands are just moving on their own. It's impressive, and the price is impressive, especially when you consider that it's almost 100 years old and made by Cartier. It was donated to an environmental institute in New South Wales to basically help fund the organisation's work. It's certainly going to do that after selling at auction in Hong Kong last week for 4 times the lower estimate, setting a record in the process. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 29th of June, 2022. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. Join me and Adam Lang tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson. Enjoy your evening.